Welcome. Today our research team wants to remember the tragedy of Armero. 30 years since the Armero disaster. What lesson did this deadly tragedy reach the world? Well, on November 13, 1985, the Nevada of the Ruins volcano in Colombia, located in the Andes Mountains of South America, erupted, sending a destructive mud flow down its slopes, flooding, claiming the lives of over more or less 25,000 people in the town of Armero. In seconds, to explain in more detail the expert in this type of disaster, Dr. Viviana Berrio, who will tell us what happened. Okay, good morning, Ms. Berrio. Please tell us about the events of that tragedy.
Hi, Diego. Thanks for your invitation. According to Jim Andrews, say that the Nevada del Ruiz is one of the ring of fire is in the Pacific. It's a big volcano, an important volcano. The experts told me that in this moment the Colombian science lacked the expertise and government support and equipment necessary to effectively monitor the volcano and relay information to public authorities. But the situation we have now is different because the government say that the municipalities have directly responsibility about the management risks, and the municipalities have 5 principal responsibilities. The first of one is the risk identification. The second one is a risk reduction, and the third is institutional development, and 5 is a risk awareness. For that reason, Colombia in this moment have a different situation because the government have a lot of programs about the risks and natural disaster. For that reason, it's a good moment for planning. It's a good moment to the Colombia planning. And no more. Thank you for your invitation and see you later.
Thanks, Mrs. Berrio. Now, we will talk about of testimony. Today, we are with a survivor. She said that the tragedy was awful. Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez. Tell us your testimony.
Okay, good morning, Diego. In 1985, I was 5 years old. I remember everything because only I heard cry for help. The ashfall began at 4 p.m., alerting nearby populations, and local authorities over loudspeakers advised people to wear a damp handkerchief to protect their noses and their respiratory systems and return home to safety. At about 9 p.m., Armero was completely without electricity service, and so there were no means of communicating the dangers to the town. At about 11:30 p.m., Armero was flooded with water and several volcanic materials. Then, in the next hour or so, some persons were trapped in the mud, and over 1 o'clock a.m., on November 14, the tragedy was really. It was awful. A lot of bodies were already floating in the mud. Or this situation was terrible. I feel very sad when I think about that.
Thanks, Ms. Rodriguez. I bet the Armero tragedy has been the worst in the history of Colombia. Now, the Dr. Viviana gives us some recommendations to prepare for an emergency as the Armero tragedy. Tell us, Dr. Viviana.
Okay, I have two types of recommendations. Recommendations before and during. The recommendations before, know your local flood history is very important. Find out local government agencies or experts at what river head you are unsafe. Avoid building in floodplain unless you live and reinforce your home. And find out evacuation route and recommendation during. Listen to the radio or television for information. Be aware that flash flooding can occur. If there is any possibility of flash flood, move immediately to higher ground. Do not wait for instruction to move. Be aware of streams, drainage channels, canyons, and other areas now to flood suddenly. No more. Thank you for all, and I hope see you again. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Mrs. Barreiro. The next week, more stories. Bye. Follow us on our social networks. Bye bye. See you there.